Officials with NEMA say if you were not able to dry your home within 24 to 48 hours after it was flooded, you should assume you have mold growth. I sat down with the owner of A1 Mold Testing and Remediation Services about what goes into testing a home for mold and just how busy he's been since the floods hit.
It has been extremely busy. The first week after the floods hit, I think I put in 87 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So what are some of the signs for homeowners on whether or not they should get tested for mold?
Well, it depends on how much flooding came in. I just did some testing for a guy down in Papillion that had about 3 feet of water in his basement. They tore basically the lower 4 feet of everything out, and his insurance company wanted the added insurance for them that they didn't have mold. So he had me come in and do some just air sampling. I did a visual assessment and then conducted some air sampling to make sure that everything as far as spore concentrations were where they need to be.
What goes into testing a home for mold?
Well, I look at it as an assessment first. So I always do a visual before I conduct any air sampling. A visual assessment can obviously uncover things, and if we find mold on a visual assessment, the mold testing kind of goes out the window at that point because the testing is to confirm or deny that there's a problem.
Are there any mistakes that homeowners make when it comes to making sure there isn't any mold in their home?
There definitely can be. Oftentimes homeowners will call me too late, and when they call me too late, it's tough for me to make it cheaper for them as far as repairs go. So the best thing that they can do is call on an expert, whether it's me or another guy, and have it done quickly rather than wait, because the longer you wait with water, the more likely that mold's gonna obviously grow.
Do you have any other advice for homeowners who were affected by these floods?
Have your house inspected, I guess, is the biggest thing that I could recommend. Doing it now rather than waiting 6 months or a year, and then obviously if there are health implications because mold is starting to grow, now they've waited too long and now they could be suffering even more.
What are some of the health implications that can come from living in a home with mold?
You know, I get common complaints of your cold and flu-like symptoms. Obviously people that have allergies, asthma, are going to be more likely to suffer from mold exposure, but the longer you're exposed, the more susceptible you come from getting sick from it.
And if you find mold that covers a 10 by 10 foot area or more, the CDC says you should have a professional take care of it.
Homeowners, spring is a few weeks away, and now is the time to watch out for mold around your home. 11 News reporter Jenny Ha joins us live this morning. Jenny, what does it take to prepare your home for the new season?
Mark, it really doesn't take that much. By just frequently checking in on parts of your house that don't get as much air like your AC units, you can save yourself a lot of money and effort later on that would be used for cleaning up. Now, as the weather gets warmer and the ice and the snow melts, it's the perfect climate for mold and bacteria growth. A local property restoration expert recommends taking care of your AC unit by checking those drip pans and changing filters regularly. He says air conditioner units can produce as many as 5 to 20 gallons of water every single day. And just opening up your windows can also help. If there's any water on your windows, that means your house is more humid than it is on the outside, and you want them to be about the same. And most mold prevention care can be simple DIY.
By the time we get the call, we're getting it because most people can see it on the wall. Or they have an odor. We like to say the nose does know. Mitigated is a lot more money than to be preventative on it, and it really doesn't take a lot of effort or time.
And that expert says you can take just a few minutes out of your day, maybe once or so a week, to do all this. And if you feel uncomfortable, you can always hire someone professional. Live in Colorado Springs, Jenny Ha, KKTV 11 News.
Yeah, it's important to get rid of that. All right, thank you, Jenny. Well, we're tracking the latest.
At 5:30, new testing shows what is actually lurking inside the walls and under the carpets of a controversial building. We've been following complaints about the Flagler County Sheriff's Operation Building for some time now. Deputies, detectives, and other staff at the Operations Center reported different medical conditions all of them pointing blame at the Operations Center for Illnesses. News 6's Lauren Korn is in Flagler County to break down the findings of the latest round of testing.
The test results are in.
And what they actually found was moisture and mold, according to the report.
Flagler County hired an environmental consulting firm to do intrusive testing inside the Sheriff's Operations Center rather than spending more money on another round of testing just the air quality.
And it's not necessarily the best sort of testing. Ripping open the walls and pulling up carpet and tile, that's what really brought everything to light.
And you can see for yourself. The report states moisture intrusion and mold under carpet and floors throughout the building. Also a lack of adequate drainage that contributed to the water intrusion, not to mention old wood, insulation, and a bat infestation.
The opinion that they gave is that there is some kind of link between the employees' upper respiratory issues as well as the rashes that they were receiving.
Chief Mark Strobridge says 37 employees filed claims with workers' compensation and more than a dozen filed civil negligence lawsuits.
What we care about is getting our employees healthy and keeping them at work.
The engineering company now recommends additional testing on the building and potential remediation based on those results.
Which is the next key point that they'll have to figure out is why is the moisture there? How did it get there? How long has it been there? And what can be done about it?
That will be a decision between the sheriff and the county commission. They'll have to decide ultimately what is the best decision all the way around. But at least now we have some real solid answers and some direction to go, which we did not have before.
In Flagler County, Lauren Korn, Getting Results, News 6.
Well, it's official. Reported today, the Centers for Disease Control has released important documentation onto their website. What many Americans had already known and feared, that the mold growing inside homes across the U.S. produce poisons called mycotoxins, and these poisons have now been linked to be the cause of disease, cancer, and even death in human beings. These poisons, known as mycotoxins, specifically aflatoxin, ochratoxin, and trichothecene, to name just a few, are produced by common household molds such as Aspergillus, Penicillium, Stachybotrys, and other species of fungus commonly found in indoor water-damaged buildings. As mold grows, mold spores are released. They become airborne. From there, they're inhaled, ingested, or absorbed through the skin of the structure's occupants. Once known as sick building syndrome, the inhabitants of those buildings knew that they were sick, but until now, the source of their medical complaints remained a mystery. The United States federal government, through the Food and Drug Administration, currently regulates and monitors the amount of mycotoxins in our grains, milk, peanuts, peanut butter, and most of the U.S.'s food supplies and surpluses. Only until now has the concern of mycotoxin poisoning caused by mold in indoor environments become a significant health concern. The papers released by the CDC regarding mycotoxin poisoning, mycotoxicosis, and the damage these poisons inflict on the human body are a milestone for mold advocacy groups across the U.S. and definitely lifts the scrutiny for the need of mycotoxin tests in people exposed to moldy environments.
A $6 billion investment, thousands of jobs, and one big problem: mold.
And construction workers building the battery plants for Ford's electric vehicles are getting exposed to it. WDRB's Conroy Deluche uncovers what investigators found growing inside equipment crates. Conroy?
The 46-page report reveals that mold is growing before it even reaches Kentucky. One former worker tells us that he and dozens of others have been getting sick from the exposure. Kentucky's biggest construction project is still more than a year from the finish line.
I hired in the day before Thanksgiving.
An electrician by trade, James Dugan worked as a subcontractor on site for about 2 months. He immediately saw an issue.
Since the day I hired in, there's been heavy amounts of mold on the job.
A report filed by a Kentucky environmental contractor contains these images: wood crates at the Blue Oval site with mold clearly visible, sometimes in, quote, heavy concentrations.
It's like if you'd walk into a crypt or something, you know, it's just horrible. If you can't smell the mold, your sniffer's broke.
Blue Oval is a partnership between Ford and SK On. the automaker's Korean technology partner. The crates under examination contain equipment shipped from Korea. The report reads at one point, quote, "The smell was very heavy to the point that there is a clear sign the wood crates being shipped in these containers were experiencing high levels of moisture prior to leaving the shipping ports in Korea."
And it's really taking effect on hundreds of workers from all trades.
A Blue Oval SK spokesperson says the company is aware of an OSHA investigation, but pointed out that the construction workers on site are not Blue Oval employees.
I've stayed sick the whole time I've been here. Was not able to breathe, wheezing, bad headaches, lots of sinus pressure.
According to the CDC, mold exposure can cause symptoms ranging from a stuffy nose to wheezing and a fever. Other workers WDRB News spoke to echoed Dugan's symptoms and concerns. They asked for anonymity to protect their jobs.
They can spray them down, wipe them down, break them down, and then stick them through a clean room before they bring them inside of the building.
The 46-page report recommends a mold protocol to protect workers, but that won't help Dugan. He missed work, out sick, and was laid off last week. WDRB did reach out to several of the contractors involved in this phase of the project, and we did hear from Able Construction about an hour ago, which is responsible for installing the equipment. They dispute the accusation that they're not doing anything about the mold issue, and right now at WDRB.com, our Chris Sotz has more details about what they are doing to try to fix the problem. Gil?
All right, Conroy, thank you for your reporting tonight.